And I'm finding this a very exciting topic tonight because I think for me, oh, Tonya says she's trying to get in. That's really odd. Tonya, I don't know if you can, I'm going to remove you and then can you, I'm not sure what's going on with Twitter Spaces tonight. First of all, our initial link didn't work and now you can't get in. So it's a bit odd. I'm not sure what's going on with Twitter Spaces. They're having an issue. Tonya, if you can hear me, can you please leave and then come back? Unless you want me to remove you. If you could leave and then come back. I think there is something going on with Twitter Spaces tonight. I'm not sure what it is. So if you can hear me, please leave and then come back in. And that way I will be able to co-host you again so we can get going. There's certainly something not quite right with Twitter Spaces tonight, but it has to work for us. So hopefully, okay, I'm going to just get on and start to introduce myself and hope that Tonya can get in. She's also streaming. Oh, she's also streaming this live on YouTube. Says she can't leave. Her app isn't working. So what I'll suggest is, Tonya, if your app isn't working, you may want to. Oh wow, I'm not sure what to do with that. You're the tech person, but thankfully Ramesh is here. So if anybody knows what we're going to do about Tonya's situation, because Tonya is the one that set up sort of the graphics and everything. She's quite an expert in not just using NAD, but also very good with all of this, the techie stuff. So Tonya, if you want me to remove you, let me know, and then I will do that. But you have to ask me to remove you. I don't want to remove you without your permission. All right, I'm going to get going and introduce myself. Then I'm going to introduce Dr. Kumar. I think he's trying to connect as well. And then we can get going. If everybody, can you all hear me? If you can hear me, can you just type, do the 100 sign if you can hear me? Because it sounds like the people having connection issues tonight. If you can hear me, can you give me 100, please? Delilah can hear me. Thank you. Hamza, Don. Excellent. Wonderful. So I'm just going to carry on. And I think hopefully Ramesh and Tonya will be able to get in. So my name is Dr. Simi. That's not my full name, but that's what I prefer to be called. I'm a practicing clinician and health systems expert, health policy and leadership, and I'm a speaker, and I'm very keen on wellness. I completed my initial medical degree many years ago in Lagos. I'm also an alumnus of Imperial College and Bedfordshire University here. Lots of roles in leadership, including just loads of roles in leadership anyway. I won't bore you with all of that. But what's relevant to tonight is that I have a concierge service where I do concierge wellness, and I provide for a group of clients who I give a lot of my time to. I'm also aesthetics as well, so we do quite a bit in aesthetics, also anti-aging, IV infusions are things that I'm very passionate about. Right, I love mental health too, so I have a mental health journal and a line of supplements. Now, Dr. Ramesh, I'm not sure what's going on with you and Tonya, but there are issues with your connections and you're not connecting, and I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
So that would be an issue. But while Dr. Ramesh is trying to connect, I'm going to introduce.
Can you guys hear me?
I'm going to sort of introduce Tonya first, tell you what she does, and then I will sort of discuss what Ramesh does as well. I really hope they can get in. This is I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so Tonya is an amazing woman who I met recently, not too long ago, and she does so many things. So I'm going to tell you what she does while she's trying to get in. Tonya, please send me a message and let me know exactly what's going on, because all I can see is you saying connecting, and that's
I'm here.
Ramesh as well. It's just saying connecting.
We're like all over the world right now.
Different platforms to stream, and that's why. And whether you can just connect to Twitter directly. I'm not sure what's going on there. But Tonya
we're live.
has had a myriad of occupations, from military sales rep, makeup artist, hairdresser, store manager, account executive, NARS cosmetic trainer. She's now in the American Academy of Anti-Aging, and is a keen communicator. And she has so many other things she's done. And now she's now a life extensionist. I've never heard that until I met Tonya. I didn't know what life extensionist meant. So she founded a communications relations agency called No Aging in August 2006. She's the president of the Association for Women in Communication, South Florida chapter, and has held that position on and off since 2008. She has multimedia talk shows, she has social chats, and she's celebrating, I think, 12 years, of live streaming in February. Okay, all right. There's no point me introducing them if they can't get in, so I'm not really sure what's going on.
I'm here.
I cannot hear you, and I don't know if you can hear me either. So I'm going to remove.
No, I can hear you.
Both of you. I'm going to remove. Can you? Oh, you can hear me.
Oh yeah, I can hear you. I'm recording. I'm live streaming.
Should I remove you, Tonya, and you come back
I can
in,
hear
or
you.
leave it the way it is? Because it just says connecting.
Perfect. No, it's perfect right now. I'm like standing right next to the router.
Remove
Can you hear me?
Just give me a fist sign to remove you. And if you want to stay, let me know. I'm going to remove you because I really don't know what else to do. So I'm going to remove you.
Okay, just remove me. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay, so I've removed Tonya, and hopefully she'll be able to request again and come back in. I'm going to remove Dr. Ramesh as well. And then let's see what happens. It's all very, very odd tonight. I don't know what's going on with Twitter Spaces tonight. I'm going to quickly talk about Dr. Ramesh. I'm going to Ramesh and hope that he can get in. If not, we're going to have to reschedule the whole thing, but I really hope it's not going to be that way. I'm going to talk about Dr. Ramesh quickly, and Dr. Ramesh is in South. I think he runs LifeWell MD, and he's in South Florida, I believe. And again, he's very keen on holistic integrative care, and he has cutting-edge treatments like integrative medicine for a wide range of health concerns. He's an expert with various aesthetic procedures like cool sculpting, facial tightening, and then he does NEDs. So that's where we are. I'm sorry, guys, that we're having issues. I'm just going to go on and just talk about wellness and talk about, I'm going to talk about infusions that I do. And if at any time Tonya can come on, then we will interview her and her experience with NED, which I think is a great development. I mean, and I have lots of questions for them, but that's only if they can join in. So I started with wellness many years ago now, and I started wellness many years ago now, and I started with just sort of aesthetics and in my spare time. So it wasn't what I did as a full-time. I'm a general practitioner and healthcare leader. I started at that with aesthetics, Botox, and then moved on to supplements. Initially, I never really believed in supplementation at all. I thought, well, the body can make enough of everything it needs, and I felt like supplementation was just a way of people trying to make money, and I didn't think it was something that was of any use, in all fairness, until I discovered vitamin D. Vitamin D was the first thing that became a major issue for me in about 2008, when I thought vitamin D was the one thing that what was crucial. And I'll tell you why vitamin D before I move on to things like vitamin B and then to infusions. And people have various ways, whether they believe it or not. But before I do that, can you please just tweet out the space? It's a bit of a stressful one because my co-host and guests are not here, but can you please tweet out the space? And let's just talk generally about wellness and anti-aging, and what your experience is. And if you have experience with anti-aging, then do come on and chat about that. And when I hear anti-aging, Tonya, you're putting your hand up, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't see anything. I really don't know what's going on. So
oh my God, this is crazy.
Send me a message. I don't know what's going on with your app because everybody else can hear me apart from you. Everybody else can get on, I think, apart from you. Okay, I think I'm not sure what.
So what it is, I
Sorry
can
about
hear
this,
you,
Dawn.
but
It was your first space with me, and it's not going very well. And the technology failure. So it's not our failure. It's technology that has failed. So okay, let's try see whether Dawn can speak. Whether it's just me or whether it's just So everybody seems to be having the same issues because Dawn cannot get on either. Okay, Dawn
yeah, I
cannot
can
get on.
hear
Nobody
you.
seems to be able to get onto the stage.
Hello, Dr. Simi.
So maybe what we'll do is to close down the space and start it again and see if it works because Dawn
Hey,
cannot get on.
Tanya,
Nobody
if you
can
want
get
to
on.
send a note to
So
Dr.
guys,
Simi,
it's
I
a
don't know if her
technology
volume's down,
failure.
but I
It's
can
not
hear you.
us. So we're going to end the space
Oh,
now. We're going to try and restart it. If
because
it
we can do it
works,
from
we'll
my
tweet
end.
it out again. If it doesn't, then we'll reschedule it. But I'm really sorry, and this is an exciting discussion. But I'm going to end it now and restart it again. Okay.
The crime was loving you all of the time, being blind to all of your life. But now I can see crystal clear as the ocean sea. It is my destiny. Yet I feel my old skin. Emotions like everything's a sin. Pleasure and pain now can begin in a different form of pain. My spirit will rise, my soul compromised to an evening surprise.
I love the music, Tonya. It's amazing. Should we start?
Feeling lonely, a prize that was never mine. Yeah.
Okay, we are ready to go. Let me
Excellent. Excellent.
fixed everything. It's still streaming and recording.
Lovely. Okay. Welcome to those who've joined us again. This is our third try tonight. We've had some issues with Twitter, but it's okay because we're back on now talking about biohacking and trends in longevity, aging well, just being your optimum life, living your optimum life, and having loads of energy for as long as possible. So in this space tonight, it's going to be me, Dr. Simi, with Tonya and Dr. Kumar, who will join us. So we'll ask you to please tweet out the space if you are keen on just being optimal at whatever age. When people hear longevity or anti-aging, they think you have to be 100 years old or 40 or 50 or 70. It's as soon as you're born, you started to age. So it's never too early to learn about how you can live your life to the optimum. So tonight, I'm going to be talking to Tonya and Ramesh about NAD in particular, because I'm really keen to hear all about it too. But first of all, I will introduce them. Ramesh, sorry about the earlier kerfuffle. I'm not sure what happened from my end with Twitter. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So we're just asking everybody to tweet out the space before I start to talk about you or talk to you, Antonia. So, okay. So let's get started. Please tweet out the space, invite your friends, DM people so that they can get on. Many times the DMs work even better than the just tweeting out in your space. So DM people and invite them to come and hear about this tonight. My name is Dr. Simi. I'm a practitioner in the United Kingdom and also work in Nigeria as well because I'm Nigerian by origin. And I'm really, really keen on wellness. That my background is as a family medicine specialist and also in health policy and leadership. And I've held a variety of leadership roles over the years. Currently started a role with Optum. But wellness is my passion. Wellness is my passion. And I started in the wellness space in 2008, I believe. And then was when we started with supplements and Botox and all the nice things regarding wellness and just looking good and feeling your best. So before I'll keep talking about what I do during the evening, but I would like to introduce my co-hosts, Tonya. Tonya is an amazing bundle of energy that I met on Twitter, and I think she's just phenomenal. So I'm going to introduce Tonya, and then we're going to interview her regarding her experience with anti-aging and longevity. And then Ramesh is a doctor in Florida, and he will introduce himself, I think. So Tonya, would you like me to read out your bio, or would you like to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, let me just introduce. I think I don't want to do that to you again. We have that recorded too, so I can just add them all together. Save some time that way. Yeah, like I'm celebrating 12 years of live streaming as of February 10th, which is next month. And I was introduced into anti-aging medicine first back in 2004. And it wasn't by choice. I got into a car accident back then, and I was no longer able to hold a makeup brush because at the time I was a cosmetic trainer. I helped launch a cosmetic company. I hope that most people know who they are. It's called NARS Cosmetics. It's owned by Shiseido today. So I kind of stumbled into this, and by the time I discover what anti-aging medicine was, I was more into hormones and, because I worked for a compounding pharmacy back then because I was no longer, I couldn't be a makeup artist anymore or a trainer. So I had to like restart my whole career again and sit behind a desk and learn how to use a computer and spend time doing this stuff. But along the way, I've learned quite a bit. I went on to work for the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, where I had the opportunity to contact companies with new technology in healthcare or doctors who want to talk about what type of protocols they're doing. So I had an opportunity to be one of the first, people who were into this field. But, as time goes by, because we never thought that we could be ever really reverse aging or even can measure what our our DNA methylation age. Hold on, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Dr. Kumar would tell me more. But so with that in mind, I went on to do a lot of things like started my own company. I quit drinking alcohol. That's not my most 6 years ago, actually. And I'll share with that really quick and why I quit drinking. But I quit drinking alcohol, but I own a communication company. So I do everything from A to Z to, I mean, I look for the trend. I create things before anyone else does. So with that, I gotta have a lot of energy. Whatever I take out and use, I gotta put back in. I'm very, when I say I'm a biohacker, meaning from my definition of a biohacker, I quantify myself. I read a lot of literature on research. I try it out. I listen to other people. I go to forums. I join different groups because I want to know why are we aging? How can I slow down? So about 2019, that's when I got my DNA methylation age test, and it said I was 10 years younger than I should be. So with that in mind, I just feel that the next level of, now I don't really talk about the word anti-aging. I talk more like about longevity. Longevity seems more of something where we all can benefit. It's not like a 40-year-old can't benefit from longevity research, right? Because they can show them a whole bunch of different data that can help them. So now we're in this whole era with the Google and search engine, and people can quantify and can collect their own data. And now we're big into controlling our data. So as a biohacker, my goal is to have better, every time I get blood tests, I want to have better markers than I did. And the whole idea is to have the best marker, let's say when you were a 30-year-old compared to when you're a 54-year-old. So that's my thought on that. And did you want me to talk more about NAD? Because
Yeah,
it's my life now. I don't really pay attention when I'm doing anything special.
Yeah, no, we will come and I'll sort of ask you about NAD in a minute. But can I have Dr. Kumar, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, please. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Cool. All right. So I've been here in the US for the past 29 years. Anyway, I first trained as a radiation oncologist, set up my own cancer clinic over the past 24 years, and sold most of it about 6 years ago, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And fortunately, I got involved with acupuncture, ended up going to Harvard Medical School to train in acupuncture, and that opened up a whole new world of this thing that people call complementary medicine, alternative medicine, integrative medicine. But not until I bumped into Tonya that I discovered this fact that age can be reversed. Until then, I was clueless. So everything that I am today, I have to thank Tonya. And I say this over and over again. I would not be where I am today in terms of health and happiness and the whole nine yards if I had not bumped into Tonya several years ago. So, if people had told me about anti-aging, people think it's cosmetics. You put Botox in and you call it anti-aging. That's far from it. That's just putting a Band-Aid on a problem that we have not corrected. So when we are talking about aging and anti-aging, so what got me involved in that was, listen, so we are good at taking care of acute problems, right? Cancer, stuff like that, heart attacks, but nobody is focusing on how to give quality of life to all these people that we are preserving life. And at least in the US, most of us, as you get older, end up in nursing homes, and which is basically, where people go to vegetate until they pass away. So the whole concept is, how do we keep us functioning until the last day that we die? How do we maintain our dignity? How do we maintain our health? How do we maintain our happiness? How do we maintain our relationships, physical worth, all the way till the last day you die, whether it's 100 years from now, or at the age of 100, 120, 90, 60, whatever, it doesn't matter. So, and that's where this whole field has really opened up, especially over the past couple of years. There's some huge luminaries in this field from Harvard and Stanford who are really at the cutting edge of all these technologies. So this goes beyond traditional medicine. So the people that are showing an interest in this are those who are in the quote unquote biohacking space, because this does not make any sense to regular MDs in the US or anywhere else. I mean, you need to have a special interest because the information is out there. The research is out there. The only thing is you got to try it out. You got to wet your feet, jump in, and try to figure it out. So that's briefly where I come from. And my passion is, how do you manage conditions that are not being able to be managed well with traditional medicine? And you go beyond that, how do we actually reverse age? Those are the things that I've been trying out myself, my family, and some of the patients that I deal with. All right. So
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
So I have lots of questions for you guys.
Yes,
so I
ma'am.
mean, for me, it's all about wellness. Everything I think about and do is all about wellness, even though I still practice traditional medicine. But if you look on my website, it's about wellness and just self-mastery. So my first question is, what are the latest trends? Because I know that Tonya has a short time. I don't know how much time you have, Dr. Ramesh. So we're going to make it very, very tight. I want to know, what are the latest trends in aging well? And I
Okay.
like what you said, Dr. Ramesh, about you want to be well until the day you drop dead and die. You want to be able to go to bed and die. And this is a very uncomfortable topic for many people, but it's just the reality of life. So what are the latest trends at the moment in aging well?
Absolutely. The fundamental thing that I start off with, put out the fire that exists. Acute problems need to be addressed. Blood pressures needs to be stabilized. Everything that we know in traditional medicine has to be maximized, right? So on top of that, the things that are most missed by physicians is hormone replacement. That is something that 99% of the physicians in this country, including endocrinologists, are sorely lacking. And there's enough research out there on the correct way of doing hormone replacement, not from a business point of view, but more from a health point of view. I mean, unfortunately, in the US, there's a lot of business decisions that interfere with medical decisions. And so if you keep that aside, there are very elegant ways of replacing hormones and optimize. That's the first step. Without optimizing hormone levels in somebody at the age of 40, 50, 60 or above, and in postmenopausal women, it's very hard to think about anti-aging or age reversal. So that's the first step. The second step is, how do you optimize health from then on? So then you have various things. So one is energy supply, which is NAD. And the second thing is, I use a lot of red light therapy. I have a whole bed of photobiomodulation. That's another technology that people can jump into. I would recommend people check on a company called Novothor, Novothor. Go take a look at it on YouTube, Google. There's tons of information on photobiomodulation, and most of the research comes from MIT and Harvard. That's the second thing. Then there are a whole series of medications that are coming in called senolytics, which are needed to kill off all the senescent cells. I mean, we can go into a lot of. I'm just giving you some bullet points. Look at senolytics and senescent cells and the role that they play. The role of metformin. We think metformin is type 2 diabetic medication, but actually it has a huge role in age management. So if you go on PubMed, Google, YouTube about metformin and anti-aging, there's tons of information on the role of metformin, even though patients do not need to have diabetes. What else? Then
Yeah.
you come down to the level of stem cells and exosomes and all those other good stuff. But
Okay,
anyway.
let's pause it there because I want people to benefit from it, and I think if it gets too complex, they may not.
Yeah.
So we can look at things like senolytics, and I think you're talking about things like quercetin, and
Yes.
I know that I'm familiar with that.
Dasatinib.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to go back again to hormone replacement, and I'll
Yeah.
go to NAD. And Tonya, if you want to share your experience at that point with NAD. Hormone replacement, I think in the UK, we have a public healthcare system. In Nigeria, there is no healthcare system, right? So both as capitalistic as the US is, I think you have access to a lot of things that are not freely available in the UK or in Nigeria. So for me, my first question is, when you talk about hormone replacement, we are looking at hormones for both male and female, correct?
Yes. So the question is, focus on postmenopausal females. Premenopausal, it's very difficult, especially with multiple moving parts. But if you're going to be looking at wellness in postmenopausal women, hormones is the first place that we need to start.
Okay, because I was going to say, because with men, because I know with prostate cancer, there's there are all these issues with hormones in men. So do men have anything to worry about when it comes to balancing out their hormones?
Absolutely nothing. It's one of the safest things that we can do. In fact, there's Dr. Morgan Taylor, and I'm giving you this as information from Harvard Medical School. He's a urologist who's a huge proponent of testosterone across every man out there, including those with metastatic prostate cancer.
Right. So are you saying that those with metastatic prostate cancer can have testosterone?
Absolutely, with benefits. Because
really?
the thing is, we've been brainwashed forever on how bad testosterone is for patients with prostate cancer, based on one patient's data about 100 years ago. And we've been brainwashed to death about that, on how bad, testosterone is, on how it can cause a stroke and MI, it's a bunch of BS. So people really need to be careful. And again, talk to the experts, because everybody who claims to be an expert on hormones is clueless about some of the new things that are going on. So I urge people, just go do your own research, go talk to people who are in top of the field, because I got trained with the top guys in the US who deal with this hormone replacement, and that's done a huge benefit for so many patients that are in my practice.
I think I might have to fly down there and come and sort of learn some things. But before I ask more, because I'm aware of the time, for those in the audience, if you have questions, specific questions, please just DM them to me. If you can come on stage as well, that's fine, but it would probably be more effective to DM questions to me. But Ramesh, I'll come back to you in a minute. I've given you a follow. Please follow back so we can connect after this. Tonya, I would really like to hear from you regarding NAD, so the energy supply. So I've been reading, I've been very keen on offering NAD with my private concierge patients. So I've been reading quite a lot today and trying to sort of get that started. But looking at it, it looks like the bioavailability is more with the NMN and the NR. So NAD is, it means, for everyone listening, is nicotinamide adenosine. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to get it wrong, the full meaning. I know nicotinamide is a vitamin B6. Is that correct, Ramesh?
It's nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, NAD.
Yeah, nicotinamide is vitamin B6, isn't it?
Yeah. It's basically a derivative of niacin.
Niacin, yeah. So nicotinamide
adenine dinucleotide.
Yeah. Okay, so Tonya, please tell me, because in my reading, it's been more of the NMN, which is the precursor, I believe, and the NR that are bioavailable. Can you just tell us your experience with this? With this, please tell us your experience.
Yeah. It was like my first research that I was assisting. Was 2016, and James Clement is a longevity researcher. One of his research was he traveled the world collecting data from centenarian, people who lived over 100 years old, to find out why the reason they aged. So he already finished doing an NAD clinical testing up in Idaho with this doctor, and he needed some more data for the one in South Florida. So I took over. So what we did was we had 6 patients who were like 80 years old. One lady came in, like she was like very frail with her daughter, and she could, I mean, I saw this on my own eye. This is my first experience with NAD infusion, and I'll explain to you also what it's done for my life and how it changed me. But I watched this woman, like they gave her IV, and you have to get you get your blood work done first, get everything done before they even give you this protocol. And plus, during this whole time, you get every 15 minutes someone's going to check your blood pressure and make sure. So her blood pressure dropped, and the daughter was scared because we were in the middle of a clinical study, and at that time in 2016, NAD was something like we heard they used it in the 50s, and it was just too much of a mess for the government of U.S. government to use. It was for people who were addicted to heroin, and back then. So now here we are. We were just trying this out, and I watched this woman she had a walker. She went to the bathroom. She came back in. She came back in with color on her cheeks. She had full of light, and it was like I felt like it gave her energy like instantly, and she wanted to sit down and continue doing it, but we couldn't allow her to continue on the clinical study because it would flaw it. So I felt bad because I said, you would have to work with the doctor to see if you can come back, and you have to pay him because she was part of the clinical study. So with that, and so the last day, because we were doing an anti-aging protocol, which was at the time it was 300 milligram one day, rest one day, every other day, 3 times, and then that was the protocol for anti-aging regenerative, really, just to like, and this is for mental clarity, for different protocol, because NAD is really good for as first for the synapses and giving a lot of people clarity. So so James he said, why don't you sit down and try this? And I already had my blood work, and he gave it to me, and I felt the first time at the time I was taking NR already. We had just like discovered NR, and I was on this other protocol taking NR. And I felt like someone blew air in my brain. And that's my first feeling of getting NAD and the clarity that I felt. And I have videos of me, I live stream everything. Dr. Kumar, and I'm wondering if that's the reason why, because I kind of like upload the video of me getting an NAD infusion. I just do it. I do it when 3 to 4 months, but I take NR all the time. But my first initial 300 milligram of NAD it felt like someone blew air in my brain, and like it really woke me up. And I stopped having that like bothersome the thought of not drinking anymore, because I was already on this, I'm not going to drink. I just did this whole 60 days challenge. I'm going to do this 90 days challenge. I mean, it was one of those Facebook thing, but I stopped drinking with taking NR, but I really lost the craving taking NAD. And then I didn't do 3. I only do I call it the tune-up. And now Dr. Kumar is the doctor that I go to, and he also see patients my one girlfriend had COVID, long-term COVID, and she went to see him, and that made a huge, huge difference. I think that's gonna have to be another space. But there's a lot of research in NAD, and it is the energy to your mitochondria. And when you don't have it, it's also the reason why ethanol, which is alcohol, it eats it all up. That's why if you're on NAD and then you go and drink, it makes you, I don't know, it just makes you feel really hungover the next day, really hard. So I don't drink. I don't even think about it. But NAD is like part of my life. And people are starting to talk about it. But when I was working in this and doing this and being part of the clinical study, it was a life changer for me. So I haven't touched a drop of alcohol at all, and never will.
Okay, so this NAD, let's I think just focus on the NAD now. So you're saying that you take the NR, which is a form of NAD, which is daily. You take that as a tablet, and then you have the infusion. Is that correct?
But then Dr. Kumar, he's a lot of research. He goes, you have to try this, take this before you do this, because the NAD, you have to sit there for like 4 to 5 hours sometimes, depending. I get 500 milligram at 3 to 4 months. So, sometimes it takes depend, what my day was like. But Dr. Kumar, he DMs me and he goes, oh, you need to order this from Life Extension. I'm like, okay, it's called TMD. He'll explain it more. I started taking that a week before I had my infusion, and it literally took me 2 hours to get it done. It was like the first ever. And I was
so much to hear, so much to learn. for everyone listening, I don't know how much longer you've got, but let's tweet out the space and ask some questions. So if you have questions on aging well, on longevity, on increasing your mental clarity, your energy level, fitness, so from sort of running and exercise, and also I don't really miss my vitamin D and vitamin B. I just find them really useful. So Dr. Kumar, that is my own protocol at the moment, although I have done some glutathione and vitamin C, high dose vitamin C. Can you comment on those first before we go back talking about NAD? And if you have any questions, please put your hand up and come and ask, so that we can talk about just living well, because you don't want, you want to just be energetic. So Dr. Kumar, what's your thought on my protocol?
So the one thing that I really want to emphasize to everybody is the simplest way that if you want to age gracefully and talk about longevity, the easiest thing that anybody can implement is intermittent fasting. Forget about every other diet on the planet. Eat what you can, but this intermittent fasting of, in whatever shape or form, and there are different protocols. You guys can look it up. I'll tell you my protocol. My protocol is I have dinner at 8 o'clock in the evening, and my lunch is around 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. I skip breakfast. And people, you heard those tales, right? Breakfast is the most important deal of the day and stuff like that. But what I found is intermittent fasting has so many benefits. So even if you don't take anything, obviously you have to take your, whatever deficiency you have. But beyond that, intermittent fasting will go a long way. Again, you can start slow, and it doesn't cost you anything, really. It's a behavior change. It's a change of habits, and you see the difference. You start burning fat like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right with that one. I've just commenced. I've always done intermittent fasting, and I think I go for 16 hours without any food, if not longer.
Yeah.
And I don't eat anything until about sort of midday, 1 p.m. And by 6 p.m. I'm done with food. So I know that intermittent fasting is great. And I've also just recommended someone with cancer to start some fasting, because I feel like it's going to be very helpful for them. So if you are an advocate of fasting and you're trying and you're doing it, and actually in England now, on the NHS, we actually have protocols for intermittent fasting now being done, which we didn't have before. But in the last 3 years, we put certain patients on an intermittent fast. And actually, we restrict their diet quite a bit. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
As long as you take away those empty calories, those useless calories that do not have any nutritional value into it, I think that, so along with intermittent fasting, stop your sodas and your sweeteners and whatever, it's the sugars, the pure sugars, the simple sugars. Those are the things that people can implement like right away today. And
that's correct.
Get on the way to wellness. Forget about going to a doc or whatever. I mean, not a lot of people, when you're trying to put your foot in here and trying to get wet, start with intermittent fasting. Obviously, if you have diabetes and medical issues, that's a different story. Follow the advice of your physicians before you jump onto something like this. But you can always start slow. When I first started, my fasting was like overnight. Okay, I'm not going to eat anything between dinner and breakfast. So then I started increasing the time interval, 12 hours, 14 hours, and now I can happily do 16 hours, and I feel good. I'm like hungry, and I'm eating, and I can get the food. It's like I can manage because I feel good, and I'm busy, I'm doing stuff, having fun, doing whatever I do. So it just becomes part of your life, and it's such a simple technique that I think, instead of going on Weight Watchers and all these dietary programs which cost people an arm and a leg, this is the simplest thing that people can do at home and anywhere around the globe. You don't have to be in the US or anywhere else, anywhere.
Absolutely correct. Yes. Okay. So intermittent fasting is a topic for another day. What I really want to get from tonight is the NAD protocol.
Yeah.
And how, because Tonya has mentioned the nicotinamide, the NR riboside, I think, and then the NAD. So in your clinic, how do you, what sort of, what's the protocol like for the average patient? I know that every patient is different.
Okay, yes, exactly. So this is what the protocol is. So I tell patients there are two extremes. Think about two extremes. One is hardcore addicts, hardcore mental health issues. People on heroin and cocaine and all kinds of stuff like that. Really hardcore, okay? And so those patients get about 1,500 milligrams a day over a 10-hour infusion for 10 days straight. That's the most extreme, right? On the other hand, you have somebody who has some situational stress. Somebody passed away at home. People are down and depressed. This will prevent you from sliding down. One dose, 500 milligrams, takes a couple of hours. Be prepared with, prep work is TMG, trimethylglycine, and then you come in. Your road to recovery is going to be much faster. You feel okay with whatever situation that you're dealing with. So in between, you have all these other issues.
So rather than antidepressants,
exactly.
Antidepressants,
exactly.
NAD would work.
Yeah. So the way I explain to folks is, listen, NAD is an energy molecule in the body. Right? So instead of putting in
Dr. Ramesh, I can't hear you very well.
Okay,
hold on one second. Up.
Okay, hold on one second. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, better?
Yeah.
Okay. Molecule that gets depleted under situations of stress. You're basically burning through whatever energy that your body's making, and you're not making enough. So instead of putting in NR and NMN that has to go through the process before you actually get the end product NAD, you push in NAD directly IV. Okay, so when you do 500 milligrams, which is at the lower, most of the times I start with 250 milligrams, takes a couple of hours for the infusion to occur, and then you can gradually tune it up. So what is the absolute dose? None of us know. It's all subjective. Hopefully we'll have a blood test. It's going to be coming down the tube very soon, where we'll be able to actually measure NAD levels and figure out, is the oral form of NAD working, or is the oral form of NR, is it better than IV NAD? I think that science is going to be coming out fairly soon. But till then, all we have to go is subjective feeling. We don't have an actual measure. So the protocols that I adopt is from Louisiana, the Springfield Wellness Center, which were the pioneers in developing all the NAD protocols. So that's where all the stuff that I learned come from. So, for example, what do I do on myself? I take 500 milligrams IV once a month. And, Tonya comes in whenever she feels that there's a need. But, for example, I did NAD on somebody this morning. I gave her about 300 milligrams post-COVID, depression, substance abuse, and all kinds of mental health issues, not able to sleep. And I gave her an NAD shot this morning, and there she is, off and running. It's just amazing the kind of transformation that you see with just one dose. And the question is, how often does she need to come back? I told her, obviously it's expensive. We charge something in the range of, $200 to $250 for a 250 milligram dose. So, the cost will get up there. So I told her, listen, come in once a month if you can afford it, or come in every 2 months, whatever it is, better than doing nothing. But meanwhile, take your NR, take your NMN for whatever it's worth. Right.
And where can we get, like, because I know that in the UK, I'm not sure it's as freely available. Where can people listening get NR from, and NMN? NAD we can get.
Oh, really? You can get NAD? So that's good. Yes. So it should be easier to get NR and NMN because they're all oral forms. And because I have life extensions.
There's a company here.
Yeah, okay.
There's a company here. I was about to start offering NAD infusions to my clients, and there's a company here. I'll tell you their name in a minute. Intravita, who are the ones I get all my IV infusions from, and they've started offering NAD.
Okay, cool.
So I was going. When I met Tonya, I was saying to her that, I was just looking at this, and then this sort of came my way. So I believe that it's serendipity, really. So yeah, so it's but I haven't ordered it yet, and I haven't gone through the training yet for that. But it's
So the
something
only
I think would
thing
be
that you
useful.
need to be ready for when you're administering NAD is the drip rate. So I mix 250 milligrams in 250 cc's of normal saline, and you have to adjust the drip rate because of every patient is kind of different. Some of them start feeling they have a weird feeling in their belly, or they have start having palpitations, mild headaches. So you just lower the drip rate. So the thing can take, like, for today on this new patient, it took me about 3 hours to infuse about 300 milligrams. So it all is individual. You can't kind of make a cookie cutter deal of the whole thing. You just have to monitor each patient individually, and you have to be there because, God forbid, if the drip rate goes a little bit more rapidly than what they're comfortable with, those palpitations can be really, really, really hard to tolerate.
Oh wow! So they can get palpitations,
Headaches, nausea, vomiting. I mean, they can get. Oh, some of them. I've had one patient with a syncopal attack, and they just dropped, and so I had to raise their legs. And again, if you're careful, it's such an easy thing to do. But a physician has to be around just to kind of. So I make my rounds every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes. I have my girls watching them too, and I put them in a very quiet room. I also do acupuncture, so I kind of chill them out.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. And
so anything. So where can we get NR from then, and NMN? I don't really see it here.
I can give you a website in the UK that I think they sell it too. Because for you to get NAD, that's fantastic. And I think you can. I'm not even sure if Life Extension over there, because Life Extension sells that to doctors only. They have their brand, not to doctors. They sell it online. So
right.
But I have to find out. I can find out for you.
That would be great, so people can have it. I know Q has a hand up, but I think you're having that circle as well. Tonya, can you see that I don't think you can get him on because you're not connecting. So yeah, you have your hand up.
No, Q is here. She's supposed to be here. I brought her up because she's my friend. Hey, Q.
Okay. All right. Do you want to?
Hey there, Tonya. Hi, Dr. Simi.
Did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Thanks for the great discussion. It's very informative as usual. What I really wanted to ask was for somebody who doesn't know where to start. So you guys are talking a lot about maybe you already have a healthy lifestyle.
Maybe you can all hear Q, but I can't, which is okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep. So I mean, what's the first good step?
Can you hear Q?
Okay, Q. This is the step. Okay, depending on your age, the first thing is make sure you've taken care of all your medical issues, whether it's diabetes, blood pressure, whatever. And then if you're going to go down the route of age reversal, the first thing you need to do is get your hormone levels checked, and also follow that up with what is called a biological age test. They can actually check your biological age, which means they check different elements in your DNA, whether it's methylation, telomeres, or whatever, and they tell you your body is aging that of a 70-year-old or a 60-year-old or a 50-year-old, whatever. So you have your chronological age on one side and your biological age on one side. So obviously, Tonya was lucky enough to have a biological age checked, and her DNA was 10 years younger than her chronological age.
And that was before the lockdown.
That's right.
I probably gained 5 years, but now it's like it was 2 years. It was 10 years before that.
Yeah. So the thing is, so let's say, for example, I'll give you my example. At the age of 58, my biological age was that of a 63-year-old, which means my body was aging much faster than my time. So when I went through hormone replacement, NAD, Desertinib, quercetin, the whole 9 yards, all the protocols, when I checked it last about a year ago at the age of 61, my biological age was 53. So again, I tell people do not focus on the absolute age, on this biological age stuff, but look at the trend. So you need to get at least two of these numbers to know which way you're going. So instead of focusing on the absolute, 63 years of biological age didn't mean anything to me because I still felt quote unquote young. But the point is, the fact that it went down from 63 to 53 means at least I'm going in the right direction. Whether that 10-year difference is any meaningful or not, I don't know, because the techniques could be different. But the fact is, it's just not looking younger, but it's actually being younger at a DNA level. That's what we're looking at. It's not just putting on some Botox and say, oh yeah, I look younger. That doesn't mean crap. How can we change the DNA of your skin, your organs, your brain function, your heart function, your lung function, the reproductive function? How do we make that actually be that of a person, the younger you, in other words? So does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so
So
much.
I hope everybody's benefiting from this and you're all hearing what Ramesh said. If you have any more questions, please ask now. Tonya, please give me an indication of how long you've got on here, so because I would shape how much I say.
No, I have time. This is
Great.
fantastic because we're cutting these up in snippets. So, but I also have NapPod from Tampa. His name is Scott. He has a really cool they're called the nap pods. You sleep, you go to work, and then I look at them, and they're like little pods, and you go to sleep in it. And I was like, oh my god,
lovely.
For NAD. So he's in a space.
Invite him up then. Let's let him come and talk about the nap pods. Would definitely love to hear that. Definitely. We've got Pernia as well, who's coming up. I believe you have either a comment or a question. So when you're up, please feel free to speak. And Tonya, you might have to moderate that bit because my app is playing up. Yeah.
No worries, I'm here. Hey Scott, how are you?
Hello, Tonya. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It's been great so far listening in because you know me, I'm all about trying to expand the NapPod portfolio and offer NAD at some point. But right now, I'm just trying to get into the vitamin hydration game, if you will, right now. And I'm trying to get that established. And just hearing this information from doctors just makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing for people in the metro area I am in downtown Tampa. And I'm trying to add this service to my business because a lot of people are asking about it. They're inquisitive. They read up on it. They know more about it than I knew at the time. So it made me even reach out to Tonya recently, just asking a question behind the scenes because I want to provide that for them. A lot of people are trying to take their health very serious now. So I want to aid them and help them. And conversations like this helps me get clarity from professionals like yourselves. So thank you for having me on.
So Dr. Kumar is the doctor I was telling you about, Scott.
Awesome. That is awesome.
And I'm here in Port St. Lucie, by the way. I'm right across from you.
Nice.
On the other side.
Very
nice.
I missed part of what you said, Scott, about nap pods, but I think what I got from Tanya is that this is something that you rest on for work. Can you just tell us a bit and let the space hear about nap pods?
Absolutely. Thank you. NapPod itself is the place to go between your 9-to-5 job for a break, to get away, to alleviate stress, anxiety. You're just tired and didn't sleep last night. The mythical 8 hours of sleep we don't get. You come here to band-aid the fact you didn't get a lot of sleep. Like we charge our cell phones, we don't charge ourselves. My business and NapPod is all about having a place for you to recharge, to be more productive, to be more human by improving your cognitive abilities in the middle of the day versus trying to sleep all the night, have all that good memory firing in the morning, then it dissipates throughout the day. So NapPod is here to make us more human, providing aromatherapy, providing purified air. I have multiple air purifiers running. I have the zero gravity NapPods, which are chairs scientifically designed to help put you in a zero gravity position to alleviate all your stress or your pain, digestion issues, snoring. You can do that in the room if you want to. I have their individual rooms. Close the door, you can snore all you want. Has ambient lighting, and it's built for you to relax. It's built for you to come and have an escape away in the middle of the day. I thought of this idea and came up with it, just doing research, seeing Google offer to employees love it. So I said, what about the standard workers? What if we want something like this? Is anybody going to do anything about it? I didn't find anything, so I decided to do something myself, and that is what NapPod is.
That is fantastic. Yeah, really, really, really cool. For me, I think I love to sleep in the have a siesta, so I think that's fantastic. Okay, it's wonderful. We've got Ramesh. Do you want to say something? But Pernia's got her hand up. So
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
okay, Pernia, please feel free to speak. You have your hand up. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Simi and Tonya. I was listening to Dr. Ramesh, and he was talking about like checking out your biological age and like sort of, reducing it. So since I'm totally new to this, so I wanted some information. Then how would these things help with people who are aging faster because of stress or because of hormonal issues, especially women? Because women, they when they take stress and they're that's what I've read, that their DNA no longer replicates and they age faster. Their skin, it starts sagging, and so how can we reverse that? And
Okay.
the second question would be to NAPOD. Since you said like it can fix your sleep cycle, it can. So how can it fix insomnia? Like people who insomniacs who are really
A huge, huge issue. The number one reason for insomnia to develop in postmenopausal women is the loss of progesterone. Number one reason. And that can be fixed if you stabilize progesterone levels. That's it. And then there are other things that we can talk about on how. See, one of the things that we really need to understand is this, and this is something that I've been experimenting over the past couple of months. Most of us, when we are awake and alert, I'm assuming that all of us have some basic understanding of brain waves. I'll just give you a quick rundown. When we are alive, awake, and discussing stuff, our brain is what is called at beta waves, most of it. When we are relaxed, we are at an alpha wave. And when we go down a little bit deeper, you go to the delta waves, which is deep sleep. And then you have the theta waves, which are just above the dream state, between deep sleep and the relaxed state. So when we tune ourselves to be in alpha state 24/7, which means be in a relaxed state, okay, that is through meditation, mindfulness, and so many of these things. Once you stabilize your brain to spend most of its time in the alpha state, you start seeing a big difference. So how do we achieve that alpha state? So there's a whole chapter on how we can do that. I mean, that just takes a lot more of my time to discuss that here. But just be mindful that meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, all these things are meant to put a brain at an alpha state. And your most creative ideas, so that's one step above the sleep state, right? So if you can get into an alpha state, it's very easy to get into the sleep state. It's very difficult to jump in if your mind is at a beta state, which means it's constantly thinking and working out and dwelling on problems and issues. So I know it kind of, my discussion out here is a little bit haphazard, but I'm still trying to wrap my arms around it.
No, you're making perfect sense, Ramesh. So yeah, I think everybody's understanding.
Okay, cool. So there are different angles to solve the problem of insomnia, especially as we get older. And one of the big reasons why we have deterioration of our mental function is because of the lack of sleep, because of the lack of restful sleep. And that's a huge issue. And one of the main reasons for that, like I said, was hormones. And then we got to think about other things. So people usually put a Band-Aid on it by taking tranquilizers, that is another. But NAD will help. NAD will help.
Oh my God,
heal the
NAD
brain.
change you for sleep.
Yeah.
You have a sleep issue? I had the worst sleep issue ever. The first time I did NR, we did 700 milligram, and it's 750, 300. My first 2 weeks was like 300 in the morning, and then another 250, then 100. So 650 altogether. So my first time I did it that night, I fell asleep and which I always had to have Ambien or sleeping aid or something. I have a sleep issue. I literally passed out sitting. Actually, I'm sitting at Bill's house. We just sitting there talking, and I just fell asleep on him. I've never ever, and I was drooling too. That's the worst. I don't like. That's one thing about me. I never could sleep deep enough to be drooling, but I drool. I was drooling. I woke up. I was like, oh my god, I've never felt like this before. And now today, I do not. I mean, I'm like the Cinderella, like by midnight. If I stay up past midnight, I'm gonna be up, and I know that. So it's the only person I can be up with myself. I can't take any sleep aid. I can't take anything because it just my body is so sensitive now to that stuff. So I don't take anything. No pills, no nothing. Just I lay down, I'm out.
Okay. Hey,
That's
let me give you a
amazing.
little biohack that people can use to put themselves to sleep. So if you go to YouTube and you look for alpha sound, okay, alpha sound. So look at alpha sound and listen to it and put your earplugs on and listen to that sound as you get to bed. And there are certain areas on YouTube where it'll cycle you through alpha state and delta state, which means deep sleep. The reason for that is our brain will resonate to the frequency that it is exposed to. So if you expose the brain to the frequency of delta, then your brain is going to automatically start settling down into that delta sleep. So it's a very simple thing to do. I mean, that's what I do. I kind of listen to these waves, these sound waves. I mean, there are different gizmos that I've come up with these kind of waves, whether it's using lasers, using magnetic vibration. But the simplest thing that you guys can use is sound. And so if you go those things, and
Yeah,
I'll give
they're
you
on
another hack.
Spotify.
I would,
Sorry,
Sorry.
to come in there before you.
Okay, go ahead.
You're right. They're also on Spotify, and you have different wave sounds or different wavelengths for different parts of your life. So I generally just turn on binaural beats, look for that, and either I turn on the one for focus or for sleep. If I don't need any sleep aid actually. So if you do, then you can use that as well. It's on Spotify, it's on everywhere, it's on every platform that you might want. Pernia, you were going to was you going to ask a question?
Yeah,
or?
I was about to. Simi, I was about to say the same thing. That when I started listening to binaural beats, I used to sleep like a baby. Seriously, like it would really calm me down. So that's what I wanted to ask Ramesh. Like but as long as you're listening to it, you're fine. You would sleep properly and you go into deep sleep. But once you stop listening to it, you're back to the same cycle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
there's
something else that you need to then do. Then is what I'll say. If you only fall asleep when you have binaural beats on, then maybe there are other areas. I think, as Ramesh said, is trying to be in that state all the time. And I don't know whether you practice any meditation or any journaling or what your general lifestyle is. I don't know, but you might want to share that. But what I've found is that with almost putting myself in a trance-like hypnotic state, at night, I come and go into myself. I do a bit of journaling. I do a bit of, just mindfulness and breathing. By the time I focus on my breath, I'm gone. Like, strict exercise routine. It doesn't have to be anything strenuous, but just following an exercise routine also helps put you in that state of where your heart rate is quite slow. Everything is just quite relaxed. So it's a whole mishmash of different things, as everybody said. Ramesh, you were going to say something on that.
So how do I put myself into the alpha state? This is what I do, guys. When I'm driving around, the sound om, when you utter that sound full-throated in your car when you're driving, it'll put you into an alpha state, because what you're doing is you're overstimulating your parasympathetic system and your mind is going to be so calm. So I have a 45-minute drive. I probably spend about 15-20 minutes of that drive time not listening to crap, no music, no news, no nothing, but I'm just chanting om. So try it out. The reason that we are stimulating the vagus nerve is because of the nervous innervation of your larynx, your vocal cords. So when you're stimulating that, that's where you're going to put yourself into the alpha state, and you just walk out there as calm as you can be. So when you're talking meditation, all this kind of goes into that same realm. How do you reduce the sympathetic activity, and how do you increase parasympathetic activity? That's basically the whole reason why people have all kinds of medical issues. Not only that, but also interference with sleep, because your sympathetic system is so overactive. It's fear, flight, whatever, but you need to really stimulate the parasympathetic system. The other way of stimulating the parasympathetic system is, go look at acupressure points for sleep. You'll find tons of resources. So forget about medications and medical cannabis and all this other great stuff. If you just look at acupressure for sleep, you'll discover a bunch of simple points. I mean, I can't kind of let you know over Twitter on where those points are, but you can go look at it. There are a bunch of them, and they're very easy to stimulate.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I think I have someone has a hand up. If you're still in the space and you're enjoying it, please tweet it out, and so share it with your network, please, and just hashtag. I think it's Tonya longevity. Dr. Simi, Dr. Kumar, just hashtag. But please share it, tweet it out, and let other people also benefit from it. So Q, please, you have the mic.
Thank you so much. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about sleeping. I mean, I never have any issue falling asleep. It's just that I like my mental clock, I just wake up like, 5 hours later, and that's about it. And then I do feel tired, but I always have issues staying asleep. Like they say 8 hours is best. So what do you do for that? And then another thing I guess I wanted to ask was, I think the fasting piece. Dr. Ramesh, I think you did mention, and a lot of people do fast these days, but don't you feel hungry like in the very beginning? Geez, I've tried it a few times, and like the first week is, I'm sorry, I just don't want to be disrespectful, but isn't it hard, or does the body get used to it at some point?
No, listen. So the thing is this: anytime that you take a radical decision like that, your brain is going to start screaming at you. Okay, we got to accept that. So the key here is to start very, very slow and small. Tiny habits. How do you create tiny little habits that you kind of sneak it under the radar of your monkey brain that allow you to take these drastic decisions? So I would say, what, I'm going to postpone taking my breaks by an hour. No big deal, right? So do that for a week. And after that, say, okay, I'm going to, so let's say you had your dinner at 8 o'clock at night, right? And you were programmed to have breakfast at, let's say, 7 o'clock. For the first week, say, I'm going to eat it at 8. And the next week at 9. And the following week at 10. And the following week at 11. Guess what? Your monkey mind will let you. And your body just gets used to it. Unless you're sitting home with nothing else to do, then obviously that's a different story. But if you're a professional, you're going about your business, listen, you will feel like $1 million within a month. And you'll have all the energy in the world. You will have all the energy in the world. You don't have to worry about going hungry. Your body just gets used to it. I mean, for example,
let me give you
listen, I had my dinner last night at 8 o'clock, and I'm still yet to have my lunch. I've not had anything. And my energy is beyond control.
Okay, that's wonderful. I just wanted to give you a tip, Q, because I know what you said makes perfect sense, and people get very, very hungry, and you can't rely solely on willpower. Willpower is great, but what I found for me is that if you exercise daily, for whatever reason, I'm not as hungry. The minute the exercise routine goes out the window, craving starts. So exercise, in my view, can sort of quieten your craving for sugar and for food that is not particularly healthy. So do you have an exercise routine that you follow every day?
I mean, till 2 months ago, yes. But now I've really fallen through the cracks. I used to exercise 6 times a week, but now I'm down to 3. And my body's telling me that, basically, yeah. I mean, I just feel low on energy, and it's kind of crappy, you know.
Yeah, that might be the reason. I think when you sort of exercise regularly, you would find that the craving is less. So I would, it's not for everyone. And even after the exercise, I still don't eat anything until lunchtime. So I drink lots of water. I'm very, very well hydrated, and I don't joke with the water. Otherwise, my mental clarity goes out the window. But lots of water, an hour's exercise, whatever that is, running, cycling, yoga, every single day. And I find that I'm just not hungry. So I don't know what other people's experiences are with just quietening the craving, because the craving is not what you want.
So, Dr. Simi, Dr. Kumar has to get going. It's 3 o'clock, so it's 2:52. We'll have to do another discussion and kind of touch on some more about some other things that people should look at. But most importantly, I always tell, and again, I'm not a doctor. I just work with a lot of doctors, and I always believe that you got to get diagnostic testing first. Get yourself tested first before you do anything, and talk to your doctor.
Can I say thank you then to Dr. Kumar, and thank you for coming to the space with me and Tonya and sharing your knowledge. Do you have any final tips you want to leave with the space before you go off?
Yeah, so I'm just curious, where's everybody else from? Where are the other listeners from? Quickly. I'm just curious.
The listeners, I'm not sure they can respond.
I'm in Massachusetts,
Okay.
but I'm born, yeah.
I'm in Pakistan right now.
Okay, cool. And who else? Anybody else?
We got Adams is from Laos. And
Okay.
actually, Abu wanted to is requesting, but his account is locked, and I don't give the mic out. So I'm sorry about that. And then Gino's in New York.
Farouk.
There we go. And my friend Adams in Laos.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm like, Gina, I'm sorry. You're in Atlanta. I kept thinking you're from New York. I think we have a lot of musicians from New York, but you're from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah,
and Faisal, where are you from, sir? Okay.
He's not a speaker, so he can't hear you. He can't respond, but maybe he can. Yeah, just check his.
Yeah, no worries. I was just curious. So we have got a global audience. Oh my Lord, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think more people need to hear this actually. So, do you have any final comments before you go? We don't want you to go without dropping your final nugget.
Again, so be aware. Most of the doctors out there, whether it's in this country or anywhere else, have no clue about age reversal. Go knock yourself out. There's a bunch of research out there. If you're curious, bring it to the attention of your physicians anywhere in the world. I think people need to be more aware of this brand new field. I mean, it's so exciting. And we're going to see some major changes within our lifetime. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you, and enjoy your clinic if that's where you're going to. And hopefully we will see you at another space, Dr. Kumar.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Tonya, should we just carry on a bit of the discussion on longevity and aging well, and tips for energy and for clarity, and just to make sure that you are free of
well, I would love to, but I had promised my offline friend that I would meet him for lunch, but we can do for another half an hour, and then I can leave.
That's more than enough time. I think we're going to leave now, Dr. Kumar, but that's way more than enough time to sort of wrap this up. I actually thought we're going to do this for an hour, so we've got a bonus time. So should we go for another 15 minutes, maybe, and then you can share?
That would be great. That'd be great, because my friend Adam's here too.
Oh yeah, does Adam have any tips on wellness? Where is he? Oh, there you are, Adam.
Hi, how you doing? I'm actually from the U.S., but I live here in Laos. I just wanted to clarify that, Tonya.
Nice.
Because I know he's from the U.S. I forgot that part.
Yeah, you told him I was from Laos. I'm like, oh no, I live here,
No,
but
he
I'm from
lives
the
in
US.
Laos, but he's from the U.S.
Any thoughts on wellness and longevity and all of that? Since you're Tonya's friend, you might know a few things about it.
Yeah, I'm really big into longevity. I've done a lot of stuff for it as far as raising money for longevity researchers. I love, my favorites are obviously, as Tonya knows, Dr. Face, Dr. Sinclair, and Dr. Levin. I'm longtime fans of their research and been following them for a while. So I just came to listen.
How much
Actually,
did
I
you
just
donate in your NFT proceeds? Let's talk about that.
9.3 ETH, and at the time of donation, it was about 40,000 US dollars is what we managed to donate last year.
Wow, that's amazing. So you are sort of walking the walk, and you're so practicing what you pursue. You've donated your ETH to longevity research.
His artwork, he created NFT. He did 3 different NFT in one piece of art, and he did a whole story around it. And he donated them to 3 longevity researchers. So each process was each piece was given, the proceeds given to that researcher. So it was a beautiful story. I wrote about it, so that's why I'm so glad.
That's amazing.
That's how Tonya and I became friends. When I was doing that project, I was on the last NFT, and I ran into her in one of her longevity kind of spaces, and we became friends instantly. And so yeah, we've been friends since. And she even wrote a nice story about it for me to help get the word out. So appreciate that, Tonya. And so whenever I see her doing something in longevity, I have to come over and see what's going on and try to learn more from you guys.
So I'm going to leave you to Tonya to maybe do a bit more talking to the people on the stage. Tonya, I feel like you are just amazing when it comes to longevity and NFT. So do you want to sort of ask a few questions or share a bit more for the remaining 15 minutes we've got with you and everybody on stage?
Well, I wanted also talk about, it's called ashwagandha. Is that how it's pronounced? Did I pronounce that right? I don't think I pronounced it right. It's usually some people take it in the morning for their energy, but I take it at night before I go to bed, and then I wake up. I feel like I feel
What's
great.
it called? What did you call it? What's that?
Okay, it's a supplement.
It's
that's like
ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha.
It's an Indian. Yeah, it's an Indian herb. Yeah, but
yeah, it's fantastic to go to sleep in.
Yeah, we need somebody to tweet that out because I've not heard about that one, and I thought I knew quite a bit. So we need that. We need that in our lives, and that helps sleep. Does that help you sleep better?
Well, for me, like different people do different things. That's really good. But like, if you take it, you should not take caffeine because it will give you that really speed up feeling. But if you take it to go to sleep and you don't have caffeine in your system, it really puts me in a deep sleep. And there was some clinical study based around it for longevity also, because sleeping is such an important factor, especially to rejuvenate. That's, you can do all crazy stuff when you're awake, but if you don't get enough sleep, you won't be able to rejuvenate. I mean, if you want to talk about rejuvenation, get some sleep.
Absolutely. Varun had his hand up. Did you have something to add to that?
It was ashwagandha.
Oh, ashwagandha. I probably had to Google that. Never heard of that. That's amazing. Okay, so much out there. Tonya, do you want to carry on with interviewing these amazing people on the stage? Looks like they're part of the Wellness Longevity Tribe, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, they're my friends too. We're like
amazing, great friends.
My thing has always been is the sugar. We're all like addict to sugar. I have to like cut out. Like I can go. I take arlipoic acid, which is an amino acid, in the morning, and I take one in the late afternoon. But that's how it helps me with my intermittent fasting, so I can go for 16 hours and not feel hunger pain. And then it makes me like, I feel like the sugar is what's causing us to age, and the inflammation. And so I think if one thing you can learn today is just really be mindful of how much sugar you're taking.
Absolutely. I cut out sugar for about a year and I felt amazing because sugar is definitely one of my biggest issues, particularly when it comes to ice cream and cakes and things like that. So if you can cut out sugar, that'll be amazing. Adam, did you have something to say on that?
I have a question, actually. I wasn't sure if you knew the answer to. I've got an issue that causes inflammation, and Tonya just brought it up with saying that sugar can contribute to more inflammation. Are there things that, like things like rheumatoid arthritis and these immune disorders, do you know if there's things in the works right now in the longevity field to help I guess, solve that issue or to reduce the inflammation caused by those disorders besides cutting out sugar?
Do you mean rheumatological disorders like arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis? Was that what you
Yeah,
said?
like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, these
Lupus
immune
and all of
disorders.
that. Yeah, I don't know if there's any current research. For me, it's always about, I love infusions. So, I mean, I'm learning obviously about NAD, but there are other infusions that I believe in, things like having glutathione and having vitamin C. And I do recommend that for my clients. Not everybody believes in them, but I've tried them myself and I feel they work and they help to reduce inflammation in the body. But you can do your own research on glutathione. There's varying schools of thought as to how effective they are. But on the government side, on the medical, traditional medicine side, there is nothing. We're still using biologicals and biologics for lupus and for rheumatoid arthritis, which are good, but obviously for me, they are not where we're trying to go, but we're still in biologics, which we've been using for decades now. There's nothing that I know of, at least not in the UK. I think the US is definitely more progressive and more advanced than the UK. But in the UK, there's nothing I'm aware of. I know there are pockets of clinical trials, but they are clinical trials, nothing in the longevity or wellness space in the UK that I am aware of. But I always say have your infusions regularly, make sure that you're taking your supplements and and all the things we've talked about. But I'm not aware of anything new in the longevity or wellness space for rheumatological disorders that you've mentioned.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome.
But they were using exosome, IV exosomes. I think somebody, I don't know what happened, but now you can't really talk about it too much. But I know that helped a lot. And then I remember this one lady when I worked for the compounding pharmacy. She was like 80 something years old. Oh my gosh, she was so adorable. She her doctor was my doctor that I was working with. She was on like 1 IU of HGH, 5 days on, 2 days off. And it really helped her that. And she was on hormone replacement. Her only problem she had in life was that she can't keep, the husbands don't last that long. Because she's like, I don't wear diapers. I'm sorry, I can't date men with diapers. That's what her exact word to me was. I remember this because she likes to go, she likes to go do a lot of water sports, and her joints really bother her. She did a therapy of HGH, and then glucosamine was the big thing for her too. But I always remember that about that. So
there's definitely something around glucosamine, but I don't think it helps very much with the rheumatoid arthritis. I think more with osteo, but not with rheumatoid. But I feel like I've learned so much tonight, Tonya. I want to really be able to offer my concierge clients NAD as soon as possible. I have a very small group of concierge clients who do pay quite a bit, and I feel like they need to have the best of everything. Not that everybody needs to have the best of everything, but at least get progressive in the UK and in Lagos. I'm from Lagos. Adam is from Laos. I'm from Lagos. I would love to sort of continue the NAD discussion and possibly try that as well. But can I just say a very massive thank you to you, Tonya? I'm just aware of your time, precious, for opening your heart out and just opening your, just being so accommodating. I really hope we can get the wellness discussion going a whole lot more. Your energy levels are through the roof. And I think for people to have energy, there is nothing like having the energy to get up and go every morning to keep on fulfilling and following your passion and your purpose. So thank you, Tonya. Thank you for tonight. I could say a whole lot more, but
that we can bring on like really good longevity researchers too can come on and talk. So, Adam and I are, because my big project is and introduce them to a longevity researcher and do what Adam has done, but Adam would be like the lead of this whole project. in their country and what, or in their city or in the community, and they kind of like can share notes. We have such an incredible opportunity with Twitter Spaces to be able to do this now.
I think that would be great to do. I would. Is helping to improve that research, but actually something in wellness linked to NFTs. I don't know if that makes sense, like token. In wellness and a way of actually creating
towards mental health projects and research, and there are some doctors that are using them to raise funds for hospitals and clinics in third world and developing countries. I'm not sure with a token right now if there's one specifically designed towards wellness, but you can always attach utility to any NFT or token. By creating an NFT, you can put in the description that an owner or a holder of this NFT gets access to my wellness website, or unlockable content like or Discord server. There's ways to do it to where people can have that kind of consultation or with a doctor, or I mean there's ways to attach utility to an NFT that we can talk about if you'd like.
I would love to talk about that actually. Maybe at another space, but I think that's a fantastic idea to do. So I will follow you right now, Adam. And thanks for introducing Adam to us, Tonya. I think that's amazing. Tonya, do you have any final? You're going to close out the space because I think you should be the one closing out the space. So Tonya, I'm handing it over to you now. Finally.
Again, thank everyone for being here. Just make sure you talk to your doctors anytime you go into any type of new protocol, new therapy. Always get tested first. Get your blood work done before you do anything, and make sure you have any issues like diabetes, anything else, anything going on. Make sure you take care of that before you go down the journey, because it is a journey. It's not like the problem with we all is we want to take a pill and feel better. No, it's a whole lifestyle change, a whole journey, and it might feel like crap for the first 2 weeks in getting into this type of having your mind think about longevity and where you want to be in the next 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 years. I think that's also, we want to think long term, but most people tend to think short term, and they want things to happen right away. So my thought is, make sure you get tested, talk to your doctor, and you have any questions, ask Dr. Simi here, and also, Dr. Simi, we should do some more spaces like this. Like I said, you come up with the topic, I can bring in the doctors.
Yeah, I will. I think we should do it. Like, I'm happy to do it every Friday, but I'll message you in the back channel. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. And your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my final thoughts is, your health and your wellness is your own. No one can really sort it out for you, but getting the knowledge is crucial. So leave the space tonight and go and read about, NAD at least, and start from there, and just some basic lifestyle changes.
Everybody, and you guys have a great day, and I appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna put a so he wins incredible prizes, and he enters all these film festivals. I met him in 2015. He's